like to introduce Dr. Lester, and Dr. Lester is a foundation professor of English and one of the founding directors of Project Humanities at Arizona State University. Yes. Welcome, Dr. Lester.
Give me a sense of the things that jumped out at you in this production.
I was very impressed that she actually was so vulnerable and sharing her story. And she went through her entire life and her parents' life. And I know that must have been very difficult. Like, I cannot even imagine. And she did such an amazing job. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. A creative license to construct the story that you want to tell. You sort of call all of us out here. How many of you felt like your toes were being stepped on? Because she stepped on mine several times. Often these kinds of conversations about race start pointing fingers at people. And then you leave the room sort of feeling guilty as opposed to feeling enlightened. So how do you do that?
Mama Trudy helps a lot. When I was writing it, there were so many moments where I was like, nobody is gonna care about this. And it wasn't until I spoke it out loud and in front of people, and especially with Mama Trudy, because I'm like, my mother's crazy. Like, and then, and people responded so well, and I thought, okay, those are moments that the audience can connect and feel light about something that is so important, but there's gotta be these balances for it.
Do people sort of respond differently depending on where you are? Like if you're in the Deep South, do you get these same kinds of responses?
Very differently. When I was writing it, I heard call and response, because that's my experience with live performance.
She kept wandering in and out and wanting us to talk, but we're so trained to have that fourth wall there.
Yes.
You did go out, and I thought that sort of entrance coming in where you really started, that was funny, but that was also quite ridiculous and absurd.
It's the hardest opening of a show ever, because I'm as uncomfortable as you are telling you what you are. Believe me, that's not fun for me.
It feels random as the census is,
Exactly.
which is how it's very senseless. But it's interesting, because I do stuff with race and gender politics of hair, and you notice how she kept touching her hair, and I kept thinking, I wonder what this would look like if her hair were straight. How would people, and that led to this question of, have you passed?
Yeah.
Is that a personal
when
question?
When I didn't know I was.
Okay, when someone assumed.
Yeah, exactly.
Passing is also when you don't tell anybody and you allow them to assume, and then they
Absolutely.
accommodate you because of what they see.
Yes.
It's really about constructions of whiteness in the same way that we construct blackness, we construct, heterosexuality, we construct these things based on what we see. The problem with that is what? Because you have to have, everybody has to have some way of ordering things. Why is that a problem? Because that helps us organize things, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Yes. It segregates, but doesn't it make it neat and tidy though? I mean, isn't it nice to have the vegetable soup on one shelf in the corner, and you know exactly where it is, and how many of you have ever opened a can after reading the label and found that it wasn't exactly what you thought was in there? That's sort of what identity is like, because I think what you're trying to do is to unpack that, and I'm so glad that you didn't play the tragic mulatto.
Right.
That you're not like weeping and wailing about you don't know who you are. I mean, I still stumble when I identify our president as a black president. It's as though it cancels out the other side, but no one would necessarily accept him as white.
And that's why he publicly stated, that's why I choose black, because that's what you chose for me.
That's what you chose for me. So in many ways, we sort of think that we can construct our own identities, but it seems to be in the hands of other people if you don't sort of contest that and insist that there be more options on that form as opposed to just forcing yourself into that box.
Please continue this dialogue with us through all the social media outlets, and let's give Dr. Lester a round of applause.
Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep up with the latest One Drop news and other videos. Do you have ideas for more video content? Tell us what you'd like to see. We'll see you next time to share more drops of love. Be sure to tell us by commenting here and on Twitter and Facebook how you are spreading drops of love.